So standing out, like how we stand out is taste. And we
Yep.
have a real story, have a heritage. We're a heritage brand. We weren't born in a boardroom. We're not sterile. I think when it sticks, it clicks and then it drives authentically. It's very grassroots. I think building sub communities and authentic relationships has been the key driver in our success.
Welcome to Thursday Thursdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My name is Jessie Ott, the host of this podcast, which is all about beverage innovation. I talk with innovation pioneers from agriculture to glass. Thank you for listening, and be sure to subscribe to be notified of all new episodes. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Thursday Thursdays. My name is Jessie Ott, and I've got an exciting guest today, Ruby Honerkamp, founder and co-CEO of Talkhouse Encore refreshing tequila and vodka seltzers inspired by an iconic bar in the Hamptons. They are real spirits and authentic flavors. Welcome, Ruby.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited to have you. I've been looking at your cans over here, so we are doing a tasting, just FYI out there, audience. I'm pretty pumped about this. The cans look awesome. The coloring, the design, everything.
Thank
Look
you.
amazing.
Yeah, we actually just went through an iteration to make sure that they stood out more on the shelf, which was feedback from our customers. But it was a lengthy process. And I think the beauty of it was we always came back to our roots. We had
Great.
an initial design, initial story, and just figuring out how to emphasize those keynotes to make sure it pops on the shelf and looks good in the hand.
Yep. It's all about storytelling and getting that liquid to lips and that trial to
Yep.
continue the getting that pull. So I'm excited to learn how you've done it all. So where are you calling from, Ruby?
I'm actually calling from East Hampton. It's where I was born and raised, and it's where my family's live music venue is. I lived in New York for a few years and boomeranged home during the pandemic, which is what was the catalyst to start this business.
Yeah, we we we've seen that. COVID was a catalyst for a lot of brands, and it's been exciting for people who, veterans like me who have been in the business over 20 years. It's fun to see that our industry is growing in all different kinds of ways, because it's been pretty basic and stagnant until the last 5-10 years, and now it's just been exploding, especially after
And
COVID.
I think also before COVID, everybody was stuck in their routines. So whatever you were served or whatever you did was just part of the status quo. And by having this time away from nightlife and on premise experiences, there was an opportunity for innovation and people were drinking at home. So we were getting more creative. And I think this innovation really set the tone for what consumers want and demand in terms of premiumization, flavor, quality, style, format, things like that.
Yeah, and so you were born and raised out there in the Hamptons, East Hampton, and it sounds like you were
Mhm.
kind of born into the industry. Your parents have a music venue, which that's pretty cool, growing up in a music venue.
Yeah, it was really funny growing up. So it's a famous live music venue. Didn't start that way. It was a dive bar that my family purchased in 1987, turned into a live music venue. It's an old school dive bar, rock and roll. All of our staff have worked there for 20 to 30 years, which is hard to
Nice.
say in a seasonal, let alone service industry. So it's this really special destination. And growing up, I had the opportunity to see a lot of live music and kooky
Amazing.
characters through the door, but
Of
I
course.
didn't really appreciate the magic of it until I turned 21. But I can sleep through almost any sound now because I grew up listening to live. Uh,
That's funny.
and yeah, I always say there's no vice that can surprise me at this point.
Yeah. Well, you've seen it all. You've seen all kinds of characters and all kinds of music come through there, I'm sure, which is a good
And I think,
experience for, experiencing the world, right
yeah,
in your backyard.
it was that, and it was also just like such an important exposure to people of all walks of life and having no
Yeah.
judgment. Everyone
Yep.
was welcome is and has always been welcome there. You could be in board shorts, you can be in a tuxedo, even though it's in the Hamptons, which might seem like a pretentious destination. It's a very accessible local bar that serves the community. And it doesn't matter if you were, born on third base and think you hit a triple. Everybody is one of the same. And I think those were really important values that were
Nice.
instilled in me by being exposed to something like the Talk House.
So I have to ask, being a Howard Stern fan, has he ever popped in?
Of course, he's popped in. Howard's
Nice.
been a fixture coming to the bar for many years, and he was actually just
Good.
there a few weeks ago because Metallica was performing.
No way. I wish I could have
Yeah.
been there.
Yeah, we have a partnership with SiriusXM Radio, and so year over year, they brought some phenomenal talent to our stage, and
That's
it's been really
amazing.
special. Do live
Did Howard
recording.
help with that? Was he kind of
Yeah,
like the
Howard
facilitator of that, or was that independent of Howard?
Metallica, just launched a new radio station, and they
Okay.
announced it on Howard. Howard's just been a fixture within the SiriusXM family and in the Hamptons, and he's come to many a shows, but I think that's also
Yay.
the beauty of the House is a local band could be performing or Metallica could be taking the show, and the consistency and quality of experience isn't jaded by who's there or who's performing. It's the people you're with in the moment you're sharing, which really inspired this next venture. But I think also that's why so many celebrities and politicians and people like coming to the Talk House because everyone's treated the same. And you can be a nobody and you can be a somebody and you could also be totally unseen and have the time of your life.
Well, that's great. I like that people can come there and just feel like everybody else because, it can get overwhelming for not like I'm a celebrity or anything and I don't know how they feel, but it's it sounds like it's a nice, safe place for them. That's great.
Yeah.
Because I know
Yeah.
how much Howard loves rock and roll, and, he's like, it's a dying art, and so for him to have a local spot for him to go to, then feel comfortable, that's great, I'm glad. Because he didn't get out of his house for 2 years.
During COVID, yeah. And I also think it's the intimacy of the space. So it's a small bar. We're not talking about Madison Square Garden. It's literally an old school dive bar that has a stage. And I think that's also why so many musicians play there because it's that intimacy with the audience. I remember SiriusXM brought Coldplay the year they played the Super Bowl, and it was just magnetic to see the energy that they
Wow.
could reach in an intimate venue versus, a football field. And then Mumford& and
I
Sons
just got
came the
the
next
chills.
year. Yeah, Mumford& and Sons came, like, years later, and they were I think it was really nostalgic for them because they started out playing in, pubs and local places, and to be able to have the opportunity at the level they are to come back, it felt like home. It felt familiar, and I think that's what the Talkhouse does for artists, customers, staff. It's just this place of familiarity and ease. It could be your first time, or it could be your first time and your parents met there, your grandparents went there. There's so much generational affinity because
That's
of
great.
the feeling of familiarity and consistency.
So among artists, meaning musicians, it's a famous place for them to go. Like, if you were getting up and going and you got an invitation to come, that's, like, a really big deal
Yeah, I think so.
kinda
I
thing.
mean, my brother's been taking over the bookings, and he's way more involved in the day-to-day management, but something that he's really wanting to be thoughtful about is making sure talent, up and coming talent, have this place to perform and have a stage to share. And so, his goal is that everybody comes through the Talk House or one day too famous for us to afford. It is a range of talent, but yes, there's definitely like an acknowledgement to, the types of, famous talent that have played versus up and comers. And I think also because we're so close to New York City, we've gotten a really big range of talent that are willing to make the
Yeah.
stopover and come out for the day or the
Yep.
night.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that is so cool. I didn't know about that. I didn't know about this
Yeah.
venue. That's really,
Yeah,
really cool.
I was just having this conversation with someone actually yesterday. I remember growing up and Sting played at the Talk House in the early 90s. And my mom, I didn't know what was going on. I was a little kid, and my mom was like, "You have to wear your like, favorite dress. You have to look beautiful." And I remember I pulled out like a Christmas dress from the early '90s, like thick velvet, and it was August. And I just remember sweating, being so hot, sitting on the bar, just shoving ice cubes down my dress because it was so ridiculous. But it's like these core memories of my
Yeah.
childhood of moments
You
where,
did
like, I
that for
didn't know
Sting.
I did that for Sting, and I didn't realize, like, the magnitude of that moment, and now later in life, I'm like, "I saw Sting, and I was putting ice cubes down my velvet dress because I was sweating," It's really It's really crazy. You could be talking to someone and, I remember I was once having a conversation with someone at the bar and they were Secret Service because there was a political figure in the bar. I had no idea,
You had no
So
idea. That's the way it's supposed to
it,
be, just like that. Yep.
there's so many happenstance moments that happen. And I think that's also, my dad always said, people come here to grieve, they come here to celebrate, they come here to have fun. There's so many different verticals that this bar serves. It's almost like a sanctuary.
That's great. And then how many nights is there live music
In our summer
a week?
season, we're open nights a week. In the off season, it kind of fades. Like right now, we're open Wednesday through Sunday or Wednesday through Saturday night, Sunday, depending on how late people stay there on a Saturday. But the music definitely evolves with the seasonality. When we close a little bit for renovation because, again, it's an old school wooden house that with a lot of liquor spilling on the floor, needs a little.
It's a house?
Oh, yeah, it's an old school house. It's a house.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm just in awe
Well,
of this amazing place.
it's really a house. It's like a three-floor house with a backyard, and it's on right on Main Street. So it was started as a bar, and it had a jukebox, which is why our cans have this Encore logo that looks like a record as like
Okay.
a nod time of the Talkhouse's foundation. And then my family came in and added a stage to turn into a rock and roll club.
Cool. Very cool. I love live music.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
There's
fun.
something really special about when you're not in it, it's easy to think like, "Oh, I can just listen to my Spotify playlist." And then you go and see the energy and the performance of live
Yeah.
music, and your soul is enriched.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, Coldplay, I'm a fan, I'm not a super fan, but I love watching them live. That would have been really amazing.
Well, I think
Yeah.
that's the other thing too. You're not at MSG where someone could be lip singing and it's more of a performance. The
Yeah.
intimacy really supports the talent in a way that is truly intoxicating. It's really special.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to get out there. That sounds amazing. Really. Really and truly. So,
Yeah.
how does all that have to do with what you're doing now? Like, can you talk us through that whole process?
Yeah. So, this venue, larger than life, full of magic, full of really core foundational values that mean so much to me and our community. And when we were closed during the pandemic, we were scared. We didn't know when we were going to be able to open again. And there was this longing for the Talkhouse experience. And there was such a appetite to keep the Talkhouse spirit alive and for people to bring it home. And so we were exploring and having conversations about different verticals of, well, what does it mean if Talkhouse isn't a physical footprint? And this idea of creating a beverage came to mind. And we weren't we weren't going to do a beer. We don't even have beer on draft. We're not known for beer. And the ready to drink category was really taking off at the time. It was still very the
Mhm.
early days. There was significant pull. But what we kept coming back to when we looked at the what was on the market, it still felt like there was a gap for us because there were a lot of other brands that are malt based, and their whole narrative was we're a beer alternative. So we're convenient. But if you're gluten free, you can have a White Claw or a Truly. They're convenient, they're maybe better for you, and they're lower in calories. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're prioritizing taste. And then the other thing we saw was there were a lot of other brands on the market like High Noon, which is very much a seltzer. You crush it, it's kinda gone. Flavor agnostic. You could sometimes have a lime or you could have a peach. It's kind of whatever's available. It's not necessarily, I mean, I know there's some diehard flavor enthusiasts, but it was a seltzer. And so while there were a lot of other brands coming to market, they were really focused either on this health trend of being 0 calorie or 100 calories, 0 grams of sugar. And as a result, you stripped the fun. You're just drinking to drink and you're not really enjoying the experience. And so the other vertical is like a drink like Cutwater, really high ABV, more calories. You might have one and pivot to something else, or it might be so flavorful and delicious, but you're just having one. It's not the drink you might stick to all night. And so what I always found when I went to a bar, I would always order a tequila soda just because that was simple and easy, or a vodka soda. But what I realized is that drink never tastes the same. It's a strong pour, it's a light pour, the seltzer's flat, the added fruit juice is like really strong, full of sugar. And I just wanted a clean, simple drink that I would make at home. What is the baseline for a vodka soda with lime? What is the baseline for a tequila soda with grapefruit? How do you make it flavor forward so you're enjoying it, you're enjoying the experience, but then you're also, mindful of our calories. Our vodka drinks are 100 calories, our tequilas are 110. I added
Mhm.
10 because I wanted it to taste good. In the same way that the Talkhouse experience is of quality and consistency, we wanted our drinks to be a quality version and a consistent version. So if you're at a bar, you're at home, that baseline drink always tastes the same. And it's real fruit juice, it's refreshing, it's enjoyable, it's crushable. It has everything you'd kind of want and anticipate when you think of a vodka soda lime. So I do a lot of tastings, and I've had someone say, yeah, this is good. This is refreshing. Doesn't blow my socks off. That's okay. That means you're gonna have a lot of them. A vodka soda lime should have a baseline.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny to even mention the lime because it was a sleeper for a while because I think so many people were jaded that lime had this artificial or
It
uh,
does. Yeah.
not crisp flavor unless you're squeezing an actual lime. Our
Yep.
lime is fresh squeezed lime. We wanted to really prioritize the flavor profile, but also make it convenience. Like, what is convenient? And so the brand, Talkhouse Encore, is the idea the show goes on. You'll have an encore, you'll crush an encore. And so that's where we're at today. And that was about 5 years ago. We had the initial idea, and we've been in the market for about 3 or 4 years now.
Okay, so talk about that process. So you're closed for COVID, and you knew exactly the kind of quality drinks that you wanted to make, the quality ingredients, the differentiation that was out there. Then how do you come up with the flavors? Because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 flavors here. So walk me
Mhm.
through that process of what that was like to try to come up with those flavors.
So to be honest, we our brand is very human, but we also look to research connected to human decisions and preferences. So our initial start was running through our back end of the bar. What are people ordering? What do
Yeah,
we need? What are we
that's what I was
constantly making?
wondering.
We went to our local bars and our friends of family that have bars and asking, what are the most popular drinks that your bartenders are making day in and day out? That's also taking a lot of their time away because they can't serve as many. The time it takes to make one vodka soda lime, you've cracked 5 cans. You're actually making more money. Well, our flavors have the initial core where our tequila soda blood orange, our tequila soda grapefruit, our vodka soda lime, and our vodka soda cranberry. And that's because those were like the most popular drink orders. Our primary might not be the fastest selling SKU, but there's a really important audience. It's like, what are those basic drink orders that people order at a bar? Our pineapple was an evolution of people consistently demanding, like, I drink a tequila pineapple, please, please, please. Our Hampton Mule was kind of our first iteration spin of bringing in Hampton's locality and like a regional reference. But everything we do is a direct relation to what are those standard drink orders? How do we streamline the experience, both in quality and convenience?
So this product is just sort of in general. It's not gender specific or age specific. It's just what are
No,
people ordering? It's more just general overall bar kind of is it bar and restaurant, or is
y-
it kind of just more bar focused?
it's bar and restaurant, and it's also at home.
Okay.
It's at
Yep.
home
Okay.
consumption. I think sometimes our drinks makes a really great spin-off. My friend and I recently took our iced tea and lemonade, poured it over ice, add a little prosecco and some honey, and it was the best tasting drink. So,
Yummy.
I
That
think at
does
home,
sound really good.
I was surprised. It was delicious, but it definitely is not gender specific and it's not age specific. I remember we had an account out here that donated a bunch of cases to our local fire department. And then all of a sudden, all the local firemen were going to one of the liquor stores and just eating up our vodka cranberry, buying and buying and buying because they had that opportunity. And
Mhm.
we look at our tasting data because we do different programs and in our tasting data and in our POS, rebate programs, we look at the data and we've been so impressed because not only has a gender split been almost equal, it's also been a very equal tier for like age. Like it's not, specific to one demographic, which is really exciting because that's who we are and we want to be that drink for everyone. And then even more recently, the Gen Z craze of are they drinking or are they not drinking? We're actually seeing a huge uptick in our Gen Z engagement with our brand because of the quality, and they're looking for brands that are authentic and taste real, and that is really a huge market for us now.
Yeah. Well, you definitely have the story.
and they want like you said, authenticity. They want a story. They want to feel like they're part of the journey,
Hmm.
and of course, flavor. If it doesn't taste good, they're not going to buy it again because it's sort of like my question to you next is like, how do you stand out in a crowd? Because I'll tell you we do a quarterly review on Thursdays, and I have different women in completely different areas of the industry, and we come together and kind of talk through the data. I've got some syndicated data, and your top 20, 25 brands that are growing are all RTDs. So you're coming in at the right time. But how do you play with the noise, or how do you overcome that noise that is out there because it's so popular?
And, it's not easy. It's really not easy. We've seen a lot of brands come in the past few years that have raised a lot of money with VC money, created killer designs, but the taste is there and they're not
Yep.
consistent. And so,
Yep.
you attach a celebrity to a brand. That doesn't necessarily mean it has longevity. A lot of people have thrown a lot of things at the wall to see what sticks. And a lot of brands, these like bigger brands that have a lot more money, have also thrown a lot of money into product iteration spin-offs within their portfolio. But how we stick true to who we are is one, we play the ground game. We are so engaged with our community and our buyers. We build real relationships. There's a lot of this industry that hasn't evolved and changed. But the key thing, or some of it has changed and evolved, but the key thing that hasn't is relationships. And
That's right.
building authentic relationship is an extension of who we are. So we have a team in the field. We work with a distributor and we have great distribution partners, but we also match that distribution partner with our own sales force to make sure our brand is always front and center and our brand shows up for our customers the way we would expect any brand to. We also just really lean into taste. We do a lot of tastings, liquid to lips. The second people try our drink, they're like, wait, this is really good. Or wait, this tastes so much better than I've ever had. It's a surprise. But you're right, it is saturated. It's a really crowded shelf space. So standing out, like how we stand out is taste. And we have a real story, we have a heritage. We're a heritage brand. We weren't born in a boardroom. We're not sterile. Unfortunately, we don't have as big of marketing budgets as other brands to tell that story as far and wide. But I think when it sticks, it clicks, and then it drives authentically. It's very grassroots. Um, but yeah, I think building sub communities and authentic relationships has been the key driver in our success. We've also kept our head down to run really thoughtfully. So instead of going far and wide to every possible state, we're not sunshine chasers necessarily.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, well, you in Florida. Why aren't you in California? Play the ground game locally. You stay
Yeah.
narrow, you go and you build a community. And once you have that community, you can build more thoughtfully and methodically. But the second you go far and wide, you mean nothing to everyone. And when you mean nothing to everyone, there's going to be a new can that replaces you on the shelf. Whereas if you build thoughtfully and ingrain yourself in the community, you become a legacy brand.
Yeah. No, that's exactly on point when what we've seen with success in this channel because you can't be everything to everyone. And
Mhm.
the community aspect to it and storytelling has been such an important part of brands that actually have the longevity. To your point, I think it's almost a good thing you don't have all that marketing money because look at the brands that waste it, like you've talked about. They don't do
I
the
mean,
research. They don't
no,
understand the market. They don't understand the distribution. They don't understand so many aspects of the three-tiered, part of it. And
yeah, that's a
too
great point.
much
I
money
had,
is too much pressure. To your point, make the most beautiful thing. But if
yeah,
yeah, if you don't have the right product that people are going to want to rebuy, and it doesn't have a story that sticks,
what is that?
you know,
Yeah.
it's going to be a crowd for a while, and then people are going to run out of money.
Oh, yeah, and I think that's the other thing too is, like, we are a startup. We're just building. A lot of our investment has been friends and family, and it's me and my business partner, Rob, working day in and day out to bring this product to the hands of as many people as possible, but thoughtfully.
Yep.
You know, people are always like,
Right.
"Where's the merch? Where's the flag?" And it's like, "Well, we can make T-shirts when it makes sense, but, like, the cost of making that 16 tastings and 16 tastings is much better than 2 T-shirts." So we're really thoughtful about everything that we do, but I think, research is really important to us as well. So Rob is the most brilliant operator. This business would be nothing that it is today without him. He is such a true operator. He's evolved our KPIs, even for our team, day in and day out. It used to be, how many points of distribution we got. And now it's like, well, what's our velocity rate account? It's better to have a stronger velocity per account than 100 accounts. And what's our POS? How much point of sale and what's our merchandising strategy? So he's really crunched the numbers to make sure data is informing what we're doing and we're not just guessing what we think. We were also afforded this amazing opportunity to work with this research company called Panoply, and they did a lot of great research with local markets so that we really understand our audience. And just because the brand should speak like this, that doesn't mean it's always it doesn't register the same way to our audience. So making sure we're always dialed in our communication and our offering, we stay true to brand and we have a North Star no matter what we do.
Nice. That's so important to keep focused on that because everything evolves around that. Your
Yeah.
value, your purpose.
And once you have a foundation, it's easier to evolve. I think in the
Yes.
early days when I was just trying to figure this out, it was, it's easy to get overwhelmed and want to do everything, but you really need to stay focused. And when you stay focused with those key drivers and or have a foundation, I think a lot of brands also, they get excited about launching something and they use all their money for marketing. They make this huge, splashy, sparkly marketing entry to the world. And then you lift up the hood on their car and their operations are like so messy. There's so many knots and missing cables. Whereas I'm
Yeah.
fortunate to say, if anyone were to lift the hood up on our car, our operations and the ways in which Rob mostly runs this business is so dialed that it allows for us to now do marketing stuff that is exciting. It now allows us to take risks and be louder because we have our back end completely,
Yeah.
you know,
That is so
he's like a
important.
soundboard on the
Yeah.
back end.
Yeah, it's important for efficiency, communication, and scale for sure. That's great to hear. And not a lot of people talk about that. Not
Yeah.
a lot of people are using that as the backbone of growth and scaling.
Oh, absolutely. When I first had this idea, I mean, the first thing I thought about was, what's it going to taste like and what's the logo? And I called my friend in the beverage industry for a long time and I said, I have this idea. Where do I start? And her first piece of advice to me, her name's Marielle, the first piece of advice she said to me is, hire this guy, Rob, because you need your operations dialed. Because our biggest mistake or mistakes I've seen other brands do is they grow too fast and then they're spending so much money, resources, and time fixing the operations and the flow and finances and back end that they fit like they don't necessarily fail, but like they struggle
They
to
get broken.
um,
Yeah.
they break because their systems are broken. But if you have a strong system from the outside, you can move it, you can turn pulse up and down as needed. You don't have to
Yep.
reroute the whole course.
Yep. That's awesome. I mean, it sounds like he built you as a startup, but built you in the right way to scale when needed
Yeah, it's
without blinking.
yeah. I mean, I'm so fortunate to it because even in the early days when we had sales teams, I'd have weekly sales calls and trying to figure things out. And, he's built an incredible CRM system to manage our sales team day in and day out. Like
That's
we
great.
have tastings, we call the account. Did they place an order? Like the logistics are what make us so successful.
So when you were sitting down with your team, as you were creating these flavors, what was the idea that you had in terms of distribution? Because there's two different models now, right? There's the traditional wine and spirits distribution, or you can go through the beer channel. So which did you guys go with?
Great question. And we've gone through a few iterations. So I think when we first started, we actually worked with MHW, which is more of a self distro model where they handle the
Yep.
compliance. You're,
Uh-huh.
blocking the accounts. And we talked to a number of distributors, but we also knew if we went to one of the big distributors, we would get lost in their portfolio. We were
Yes.
just launching. We had no incentive to like prioritize us. If anything, we could go to a big distributor to die because they would intentionally not get a shelf placement. And so what we decided to do was, okay, we're a small business. We barely have any money to operate. And we're a brand nobody knows. Let's also now work with a distributor that makes it really difficult by having not a singular invoice, maybe not as well known. and let's grow it. Because if all the odds are against ourselves and we can find success, we know we have something special. So in the early days, it was truly Rob and I knocking on doors, following up with accounts, getting orders, and then just delivering them to MHW to process, deliver, and do compliance. But we did not have a traditional sales force. And then we kept marinating on the conversation of who's our next partner, because we know that distribution isn't what just builds brands. Distribution is a partner to helping build a brand. I think a lot of people make that mistake. Well, I'm with this distributor, so why aren't I successful? Because they're just a partner. They're not the reason you're going to, you know, scale as fast as you might want to. Maybe in some instances, but we knew that wasn't for us. So we found a mid-sized distributor that was New York based, because we were just in New York for the first few years. They were wine spirits. And I think what we learned through that process is we needed to think about the ways in which our drink is being consumed. And it was much more similar to a beer. So I think ready to drinks, they kind of sit in this they're the
They
awkward
do.
stepchild. Because they're not spirits, and a lot of liquor stores get annoyed selling them because it's lower profit margin for them. But I don't think they realize volume and bulk velocity. Whereas grocery stores and bars and restaurants, they know bulk velocity. So we're kind of this awkward child between the tiers. And so we launched in New Jersey late last year with an incredible partner, Kohler. They are a beer focused distributor. They understood and could speak the language of our product. We knew that was who our types of partners we needed to engage with. And it's not always going to be one-to-one in every market, but seeing what they were able to do with our brand post-season, just as like a initial launch, we were so impressed that we then had this conversation with Union Beer Distributors in New York and their portfolio of companies, as well as their sister companies in Massachusetts. And we're with Mancini Beverage in Connecticut. And I think the opportunity has been working with people that understand both spirits and beer, because we're a velocity product. It's a lower margin, but when you understand volume and you understand cans, it's a very different logic.
Yes.
So I play more beer, but
Yeah.
I think it also market to market, and sometimes vendor to vendor, because I have some liquor stores that aren't used to working with beer vendors, so they don't
Right.
understand it either.
Yeah. And it's interesting, for the longest time you had both. You had the wine and spirits and you had beer, and we didn't, Constellation tried to bring them together. It didn't work.
Yeah.
you know? And so what we saw, I think Beatbox was the brand that kind of forged that relationship, because they were, in the Tetra Packs, and it just made sense for beer companies to carry them because they were going into convenience, which is where this a great channel for them to sell. And so now you have all these RTDs and whatnot in this format, and it's bridging the two together. It really kind of
Yeah,
is. But the sales models are completely different.
totally. Totally. And it's also, what I was going to even add to that is the state to state model is even different, which I don't think people always realize, is that liquor's not being sold in a grocery store in New York.
Right, 100%. Yeah, it's different. You have to wait till noon to go to Whole Foods, so they put the curtain down in Texas, and then in Florida, it's just like, get your booze on
Yeah.
anytime.
Well, you have to be totally literate in 18 different languages as it relates to
Yeah.
the liquor industry.
The compliance is definitely hard, and I'm glad that you have a company like MHW to help you navigate that, because especially, coming in kind of new. I don't know Rob, how new he was. It sounds like he was a pretty seasoned veteran, but the legal piece, it sounded to me like he was like, let MHW handle it. And I think that's a wise decision until you can get bigger and
Yeah.
add people as
And
you
now,
need to.
And now so MHW helped us initially, but now we kind of are able to manage a lot of it internally, because it's like fast track education. But
Yeah.
something we didn't realize was this 3-tiered system. So I actually had to lobby New York State to pass a bill to exempt Talkhouse Encore, my brand, and Talkhouse, the bar, the Stephen Talkhouse, from the Tide House laws, because you can't have an interest in a wholesale and a retail liquor license. And we wanted the brands to not feel like awkward step cousins. We wanted to feel like continuity and a genuine family. And so we lobbied the government, and we made in New York State, and we passed a bill to exempt us so that it could become like this Talkhouse brand, which was not something I would have thought was necessary. But again, as
I
it
didn't
comes,
even think about that. Yeah, because if you own anything in the bar, you can't, you're not supposed to be able to own on the other side. Yeah. So they just
And I think,
exempted you from this example?
yeah, so unfortunately, I wish it could have been a larger win for the industry, but they do let you do it's based, you also have to tie it to meets and bounds of your address. So it's like very, the vernacular and nuances are very much from the prohibition era. I was like, what's a meets and bound? But yeah, I mean, when you like think about other CPG brands not in the alcohol space, you have Carbone, a famous hot restaurant, now has their own tomato sauce. You can take that home. You think
Right.
about all these brands that have evolved into CPG, and how come liquor doesn't have that same entity? And of course, it's because of, you don't want to have like a mafioso grip on the industry. So I understand that. But for small brands and telling their story, we had to learn that through trial and error. And part of the reason we were delayed because we wanted to do everything by the book. We dotted every I, crossed every T. I know a lot of brands probably don't do the same type of compliance, but we were really intentional about every decision we made.
Yeah. No, it's the right move.
Yeah.
You don't wanna get on the wrong side of that.
Yeah, better safe than sorry, always.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So it sounds like you're in what, 4 states now? 5 states? 4 states. So that's awesome, and it's just been a few years. Yeah. So what's your future look like? What's your, next 3 to 5-year plan? Do you have anything that you wanna share with us?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, building out our marketing and storytelling is something that's super important. My background's in marketing, but I think because the story is so close to home, sometimes it's
Mhm.
hard to figure out how to share it in a way that doesn't feel like an advertisement, but is authentic. So really like honing in on the community storytelling, bringing other people into that and making it feel even more inclusive and making the Talkhouse feel accessible beyond the physical footprint. So, what does Talkhouse mean to people in New Jersey? Or what does Talkhouse mean to people in Nantucket or Massachusetts or Boston or, wherever? We want to make sure we figure out and work with our customers to make sure the spirit of this brand resembles those same values. But I think, we want to keep growing. We want to hopefully open up Rhode Island. Ideally, in the next few years, we'll open up a warmer state, even though I said we weren't gonna be the snow chasers. The functionality of our drinking of states is real. But again, we didn't
Yeah.
just open it to not be able to give it the attention and love the state deserves. So growing our team and growing to support with marketing and sales and growing our footprint to get more drinks in hand is definitely the priority for the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, I love what you're doing. I mean, it's kind of like the Surfside, you know, story of where they're building one community at a time, and they're not going outside of that vision of just building one community at a time. And you just that's the definition to me of success, because you're not going outside your boundaries, you're not going outside of some vision. You're not tunnel vision, but you're focused. You're very
Yes.
focused and keeping true to your roots, true to your mission, true to the core of the brand, and trying to get as many people aware of the brand one day at a time. And I think that's the way we used to do it. That's the way it used to be done. And
Yeah. And
people think Tito's was an overnight success. He did the same thing.
yeah,
His whole
I know.
mission with the dogs is because he had his dog in his truck and is one of his first distributor meetings. And it
Yeah.
became
Yeah.
this thing. And now he's their big, you know, partners with the Humane Society or whatever it is that they do. But,
Yeah. But it's authentic and it's a
it's
part of
authentic.
his like. And it's, and this isn't an easy industry. Like, I feel, especially as a woman, like, I have definitely been told multiple times, nice lemonade stand, kid. And I'm like, oh, I come in and I know how to close a deal and I know how to have the conversation. But it takes a lot of energy to constantly have to prove yourself and not just be taken seriously. It's definitely had its challenges navigating it. But at my core, I know we have something just based on the blood, sweat, and tears we've put in and the reaction from people to the brand has made it really motivating to see like, okay, well, what is this? And how does this grow? And how does it mean something to other people?
So, are you being facetious, or did someone really did tell you, "Nice lemonade stand, kid"?
Oh, I have been told that so many times. I'm 5 foot. I look like I'm 17 some days in the market without makeup on. Um, yeah, I mean, especially when I first
That's
started,
so disappointing.
I Yeah, I mean, I had big eyes and big ambitions, and I think, unfortunately, there's been so many try to players in this field that a lot of people were also over the narrative of this actually tastes good. This is a real good drink. They, some people were very dismissive. Some people were, I'll give you the time, but I'm not giving you the buy.
Yeah.
I'm a curious person. So even if it was rejection, I asked 100 questions because asking those 100 questions would only make me more aware of the category and how to innovate our brand to match to the consumer demand. So maybe
Well,
my ambition, curiosity early on is what made me seem not as strong. But I think if anything, it set me up for longer term success in
no,
like
I don't.
educate myself.
Right. I think asking the right questions because, it's probably one of these things where like, okay, we got another one, guys. You know what I mean? Here's
Yeah.
another one. Here we go again. And when you come in there asking questions when because you're really wanting to navigate this industry the right way, they're like, "Okay, this person, this businesswoman wants to learn actually how to do it right. And the product, by the way, is really good. Let's help her." You know what I mean? I think that they just see so many people in and out that they can tell the authenticity right away.
Yeah, there's been I mean, and also I think the other brand, it's like every other month that there's different incentive for another brand to be put on the shelf. And I've seen a lot of liquor stores buy a lot of cases of brands because they bought them on a deal and then they don't move. And
And
I
then
think
they'll move.
the thing we take the most pride in is that our product moves. So you buy it, we're going to help you move it. We're going to do tastings. We're going to support you. And we don't believe in finding accounts that won't do a second reorder. And for us, it's not about volume of accounts, it's about quality and health of
Quality.
an account.
Yep. That's gonna drive you far. It's so
Yeah.
smart. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
really, really smart.
You do favors for people, and then you see a drink collecting dust under the bar, and it went
Right.
nowhere, and I don't wanna be a favor, I wanna be a partner and an additive, you know? I think even in the early days when we first launched this, the bartenders at the family's bar, they were excited for me, obviously, but they were opening the cans and, there was, like, pride in what we were doing, but over the years, not that they weren't non-believers, but now they're like, "Thank God for this product,"
Right.
because now at crack 5 of these, I get the same amount of tip, if not more. People aren't just ordering 1 drink, 'cause when you have 1 drink on the dance floor, you're likely gonna spill it on yourself
Yep.
or, like, nurse that drink and wait online. So they're able to serve faster, the quality's there, the tip money's still there, and when you're
That's
serving more
great.
drink, even though the margin on making a tequila soda might be more than selling a tequila soda Talkhouse, you're selling more Talkhouse that actually is making your margin increase because 'cause
That's
you're
great.
providing more.
More drinks, more
Yeah,
volume.
it's a mindset shift. Like, I think a lot of liquor stores recently, they've been saying their numbers are down, but I think it's also the mindset shift of, well, the industry has evolved and consumers are purchasing differently. So actually, your collection appropriately curated to who your audience is?
Exactly. Right. 100%. So what's your shelf life?
I mean, like 2 or 3 years. I say that only because we've been around for 2 or 3 years, but we've
Yeah.
done testing year, and so we have a shelf-stable product, but I'd say about, like, 2 or 3
Yeah.
years,
That's
and that's
great.
only, again, because we do testing year over year, and the cans we made in the beginning still technically are good
Taste
to
is
go.
good.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, one of the reason I asked that is in our Q2 review, which I launched last week. Kate, who is with Uncle Nearest out in
Mhm.
California, went to a pretty high end retailer, grocery, and apparently because the non alcoholics are not as shelf stable, they're not selling like they should be, they're cutting it in half. Now, I've seen pictures of some of these stores and they're wall to wall, which is overwhelming. And I've seen posts of people so proud of that. And I'm like, I would just pass on by because I wouldn't even know what to do with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do.
To your
It's
point, are
overwhelming.
you really on point with your customer?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and who's demanding that product curation? Is it the distributor or brand partners, or is it your customer? If it's your customer and you're moving to the product, great, that works for you, and I have the greatest respect that you've nailed that. But it's also easy to also have your shelf stack and stack and stack, and not see the drinks go home. But alcohol doesn't really have a shelf life. So even though we use real fruit juice and real ingredients, the
That's what
way
I
our
was
products,
concerned about. Yeah.
yeah, no, we're again Rob. Rob, I call him my Tom Brady because without him, we wouldn't be scoring so many touchdowns. But he really made sure that throughout our product development that the can was shelf stable.
Awesome.
And corrosion, you also have to make product doesn't corrode the can, which I don't know if people even think about. I
Well, you
certainly
gotta
didn't
get the
think about
right
it.
liners inside, right? Yep.
And make sure your formula is formulated in a way that won't corrode it. So we've done so much testing and we work with an incredible formulator that is mindful of that because some brands will develop a formula, assume it works in a can, and then it's bleeding through the can.
Yeah. Especially with I guess, the citrus acid and
Yeah,
whatnot.
yeah, exactly.
Now,
Yeah.
what is with the packs come in 4 packs, 4-pack cans?
So we do 4-pack cans and we have a variety pack, which is 8.
8. Okay. And so what do
Yes.
those typically retail for?
It ranges. I think usually like the 4-pack is around 12.99.
Wow. That's a
Yeah.
great price.
Oh, well, then I thought you were gonna say well, it's funny because you go to a bar and 1 can be that. So it's all about, the location, but
Right.
12.99, some places 19.99. I think it kinda just depends on the market and who their clientele is. I think that's something people also might not realize is we don't control what retailers price their product at, and
Right.
that's why
Of
it's not
course.
consistent.
Now, are you
But
selling
I
on e-commerce?
so we have an
Sorry, I
online
interrupted you.
oh, no, you're fine. You're fine. We have an online e-commerce, but that's more about making sure we can get drinks to people in markets that we don't serve, but when you're buying cans, most of the time, the consumer intention is convenience. So ordering cans to have it shipped home and pay, shipping fees just hasn't always resonated with our customer. So
Yeah.
we have it available. We haven't invested as much in e-com because it works when it works, and it's a great opportunity for those instances, but we found that IRL experiences have just driven our brand more forward.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Is there anything else about the brand you wanna talk about before we move on to tasting and, kinda talking a little bit more about you and your personal journey?
I mean, that's it all feels like the same.
Well, it is, but I mean, I'm gonna shift over to mentors and, you know,
Yeah. No,
resources, things like that.
I think the only thing to say is that it's a really hard industry and there's a lot of archaic procedures or ways of doing things. And what we've tried to do is we're not trying to break the system, we're trying to innovate thoughtfully. And by doing so, being a good partner to everyone we work with. And our values and the integrity we have as a brand and team is something that we will never fall short of. And if someone in our team isn't performing to the degree of quality and, human touch, like white glove service is the kind of brand we want to be because that's who we are at our core.
Nice. And, do you wanna share your website and where they can get information?
So if you go to TALK Encore, ENCORE.com, we have a menu bar that says shop drinks, and it brings us to our partners page that you can then buy and sell. And our variety pack is on there. And our variety pack is one of the more unique variety packs on the market because it offers both vodka and tequila options. So it's 2 vodka and 2 tequila.
Okay, nice. Very
Yeah,
cool. Yeah,
yeah,
awesome. Awesome, awesome. Well,
yeah.
do you wanna talk about mentors and resources and whatnot, or do you wanna do the tasting? I'll leave it up to you.
We could talk mentors, I want to make sure you're
Let's do
extra
it.
thirsty.
Okay. You can't see that I'm like, what do you call it, drooling already? Okay. So do you wanna talk about any mentors that have kinda helped you through your journey?
Yeah, I mean, at a high level, we have some strategic investors that have just been so thoughtful and supportive, not just on an economic principle, but in relationships and networking and helping us see big picture. I've also had 3 gentlemen that have taken me and my business partner under their wing and guided us in ways and shared practices that have been invaluable to us as a business. One of them is a gentleman named Joseph Kelly. Joseph Kelly has decades of experience in the spirits industry, and he really helped us navigate the complexities of distribution because I think we might have signed the wrong deal or not advocated for ourselves early on. And sometimes when you sign the wrong deal, the rest is history. And
Yep.
so he really helped us
Can't get
understand
out of
the
it.
importance. Yeah, he really explained the nuances that it's not just a dotted line you sign. There's a lot more that you need to think critically about. He really helped us position ourselves strategically in the market because of his experience. Then there's another gentleman named David Strasser, who's the managing director at a VC company. Some of his portfolio was like Kind Bars. And so he really knew and has seen CPG brands scale and grow. And while
Nice.
he doesn't invest or isn't, working in the spirit world, he really saw what my partner and I wanted to achieve. And he really felt that he's familiar with my family's bar. He's a music enthusiast, and he really is a believer in our story. And I think the two most fundamental principles that have saved and changed our business came from David. And the first was the answer is always no if you don't ask. Because I think sometimes when you're a small business, you're nervous to ask questions. I mean, maybe that's just specific to me, but I'm always nervous to ask favors. I'm nervous to ask for help. But he always said, if you don't ask, the answer is no. So why
Yes.
not ask? The answer could be no, but it was going to be no if you didn't. And that has been so important because as a result, people have actually been more willing to help because of
They
that.
are. Yep.
And then I think the other wisdom that he shared with us that has been this pivotal is don't always say yes right away. Just because there's a great opportunity, saying yes, which is a continuation of what Joe Kelly taught us about finding the right distribution partner, is don't jump at the first opportunity. Be really thoughtful because you can make a decision today that seems like the best decision and you want to make it quick and act fast and grow. But fast scaling growth doesn't mean long term success.
Right.
And that was really
It
important
doesn't.
and perspective. And then I think lastly, another gentleman that has just been so helpful is this man named Frank Palatino. And he's the VP of sales at our incredible distribution partner, Kohler, New Jersey. And, you know, they're one of the most respected distributors in the industry. And he took a chance on us. He recognized our passion. He recognized our hunger to grow. And he really felt that energy and took a chance on it. Where I think a lot of people, it's easy to overlook it because we are not maybe bringing in the same amount of dollar value as other partners. But it felt like he could smell the home run we wanted to hit and wanted to do everything he could in batting practice to make sure we were set up to do so. So it's kind of a range of people both in and out of the industry, but those two have created founding principles for my partner and I to really lean into and make sure every decision or every opportunity kind of matches within those parameters.
Nice. Well, it sounds like you surrounded yourself with the right people to help you get those to navigate these waters and do it right.
Yeah.
That's fantastic because not everybody's that lucky.
Yeah. I mean, we've been really
Not that you're
lucky.
lucky, but
Oh, no,
it
no,
happened.
no. We are really lucky with the people around us. There's also been a lot of great people in our lives that have taken a meeting and then we've never heard from again. You knock on a lot of doors and not every
You
door is
do.
going to open. But when you find the door that's going to open and the right person standing there, everything can change.
Everything can change and it just takes one.
Yep.
It just takes one. And that's sales, right? At least I mean, some of these sales teams are on the phone. All they do is dial all day long. Like that would be so hard. Where at least you get out, you got your relationships, you got your accounts that you can go and see, and yeah, it is somewhat of a cold call thing, but you also have a distributor partner that helps with those relationships.
Yeah. And, sometimes it's days of cold calling, but that's sometimes really difficult because it doesn't feel as genuine. And I'm not calling just to take an order. Even if it's 100 accounts, it's not just about an order. It's about, is our brand doing well? And like, what can we do more of? Or
What
how
can
can
we
we
do
help
more to
you?
help support?
Everything is a partnership. Nobody is the responsible party. I mean, we're the responsible party, but none of the people we work with are the responsible party. They're our partners.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. What about any resources, podcasts outside of people,
Yeah.
books, magazines,
There's a
websites?
newsletter that I'm subscribed to. I think it's the Mark Brown, what is it?
Mark Brown?
Cool.
Yep.
Yep, I get that in my inbox every morning at what, like 5 AM?
Yeah, whatever it comes through.
Whenever I wake up early, and the first thing I always do is open my inbox, and if I wake up earlier than I usually do, I open my inbox, and without question, Mark Brown's newsletter is in there. Mark Brown's newsletter is so helpful because it is a combination of research and data from research, insights into the industries, and storytelling, and I think it's a really good way to kinda wake up and read the news and where the market's at. In terms of, other people, it's like I talk to a lot of bartenders, I talk to a lot of liquor store owners, I like to hear what's going on. I have this buddy, John, who owns a liquor store in East Hampton called Riesling, and I go there for 45 minutes every once in a while, and we just talk. What brands are coming in? What are distributors doing differently? What's bothering you? What's your type of communication? What do you like? He's he'd kill me if I say father figure. He's like a big brother to me, but he's like somebody that helps me understand because he worked in distribution. He opened his liquor store. And now he's just been like a mentor to me as I guess as well, in the sense of like we're always talking about the market. Well, this drink did it this way. People want it, but is it good? Is this a blip?
Right.
Is this lightning
Yeah.
bottle or is this like sustainable? And I think having a conversation constantly in a multi two-way street of what works for you. Well, we can't sell this because of this. All right, well, have you thought about this? And then it's like you open up the conversation of how you're running the business. Not that that's my place, but it's more about a conversation. And I think constant conversation with different verticals of people in the industry only allow for more dialogue about this change.
So, switching gears here, what about pain point that you've experienced that you've overcome that you're really proud of? Do you have any of those that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. I think the one that strikes the chord the most, I mean, there's so many. This industry is a roller coaster. I think owning your own
Yeah.
business in general, as you know, it's a
Yes.
roller coaster.
Entrepreneurs. Yes.
Yeah, hit the highest highs and the lowest lows, but the highest highs make you forget about one high can override 10 lows. And I think that's something it's actually interesting. In all the other business roles I had in my career, I used to take things so personally. Like if I
Yeah.
made a mistake, something wasn't
Yep.
delivered on time, I kicked myself and I kicked myself. And for the first time, it's not that I'm not a perfectionist or I don't care as much, but you're juggling so much. You're just driving. You're just constantly driving. You have to keep moving. You have to keep
Gotta keep
evolving.
going.
We've made so many mistakes. I mean, and the mistake that comes always to mind first is when we first started, we did our first production run and we had gone through a few label designs and it was hard to get the color exactly how we wanted, but on the label, but we were stuck on time. So we had to pull the trigger and we go to the plant or the manufacturing center for our first production run. And, it's like so exciting. It's like your Christmas toys are coming out and everything you've been building. It's like Santa's workshop steroids. And we are so excited. We crack open the first can that comes on the line. You like, hear that and, it's
Mhm.
fresh and take a sip and we're like, we did it. And I look at the label and I'm like, oh my God, this is the wrong label. They printed the wrong label on all of our cans. That was the first can, and we had multiple pallets of product to produce, and we had to keep going because the fresh juice would go bad because you have to defrost the juice into raw fruit juice. So it's either do you fill all these cans with the wrong product, do you lose all this money, and you lose this timeline. So we decided to keep the production run going. Meanwhile, I'm like slamming my head against the wall, like, oh my gosh, what did we just do? But then what we did is a week later, we went back, we banged on the manufacturer's door. He let us in, and my business partner, Rob, and I stood on milk crates starting at 5 in the morning and either took razor blades and resealed every can or put stickers to relabel. And we just relabeled every single can. So we have quite literally done every job in this business now. But it was a decision that was not easy, but it was, do we not launch? Do we launch till it's perfect? Like, does the brand have to be perfect? The
No.
label have to be perfect? I mean, the label has to be compliant, which we needed to make sure was done. But the colors weren't perfect for the first 2 years. We couldn't get the colors right because we kept moving printers as we were growing. And so every time that, oh, well, your blood orange is a little more orange this year, or I don't want your product this year because it's a different color. And we couldn't get it right. And it was driving me insane. But as a perfectionist, I let go. So I'm like, our product tastes good and that hasn't changed. And if the label's not perfect, it's not perfect. And I'll find someone who doesn't care. And if you care too much, we're not the brand for you. And so I think that can situation, which happened on our first production run and the first 4 months of starting the company, kind of set that tone where we're going to make mistakes, but we're going to evolve. And with purpose, we're going to know when we need to pull back or we just need to pivot.
Yeah. Well, that's great. No, that's a good example. I really appreciate you sharing that with us. So, what about your outlook? What do you think for the remainder of the year and turning into 2026? What is your outlook for the remainder of the year and into 2026?
As an industry or as a brand?
Either or.
Both.
I mean, you're probably pretty positive on your brand because you're doing really well.
I'm trying. We're trying. I think for us, what we're trying to be really bullish on right now is our on prem experience because
Hmm.
in the same way that rosé was a summer drink and now people drink rosé like throughout the year, maybe more bulk in the summer, it's not just a
Yeah.
summer drink. I think so
Hmm.
many cans launched this industry, made it so much about poolside drinks, beachside drinks, like so occasion heavy in the summer. But we know we're a year round drink. Yes, the volume might uptick during the warmer months, but we're a year round drink. So we're really bullish on making sure we show up to our consumers in the different formats. Tailgating, we're there. On prem football night, we're there. Karaoke Fridays, we're there. And it's not just a drink in the summer, but it's a narrative that, you know, we're consistent all year and we're always there for you. So that's something we're keen and focused on. I think the other thing is just talking about the industry as a whole and the insights. I think so many people, which we've talked about, say the industry's down or the younger generation's not drinking. And while that might be true in some capacity, we are doing so much research right now and it's specific to our brand, but we're seeing the demand grow. And I think the reason people think the industry is down is because maybe Gen Z isn't buying that really expensive bottle of wine or whiskey anymore. Their preferences are changing. So, how is the industry evolving and changing versus like this blanket statement that it's down? And that's something we really want to advocate in being part of that conversation.
Yeah. No, absolutely. All right. Well, I think that's all my questions. Anything
Oh,
up to wrap it up? I have a little game I want to play and then we'll get into the tasting.
okay, perfect.
Okay. It's kind of a rapid fire game and it just kind of gets to know you a little bit more on a personal side. Are you
Okay.
ready?
I'm ready and nervous.
Don't be nervous. If you were a cocktail, what would you be?
Spicy margarita
Really
because
deep stuff.
yeah, a spicy margarita because consistently I'm good, but I can pack a punch.
Yeah, I like that. Nice. That's good. What is your favorite food?
French fries or sushi, not together.
Yeah. Well, I don't care. I can eat a french fry with anything. Maybe not pizza or pasta, but I love fries. I'm with you on that one. And what is your favorite place to travel?
Ooh, somewhere warm. I spend a lot of time scuba diving. I like to be under the water as much as possible. Swimming, not just drowning.
Nice. Right. Where have you gone scuba diving before?
I've gone scuba diving in the Bahamas, in Belize, Mexico, various places. A lot of my friends growing up were skiers and my dad had us be water babies, so we learned to scuba dive and snorkel and that was kind of, you know, my segue into wanting to become a mermaid.
Hey, there's a place down here in Florida where there's a mermaid show. So if you break into the market, I'll take you to the mermaid show.
I got my license in Key West or my scuba permit. That's right.
Okay. Good place. Good place to get it. Yeah, nice. I got mine in the dirty ponds of Texas.
Lucky you.
5 foot of visibility.
Nothing like a dirty adventure.
That's right. That is correct. All right, so you ready to jump into the tasting?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, so we are starting off with the vodka soda lime, right?
Hmm.
and you can see the record here. Okay. So it's got sparkling water, obviously, because it's soda. This is my wife's favorite drink in the planet. The lime does smell real.
Yeah, and it's the color of our drinks, I should have mentioned too, or the color of the fruit juice, because we use real fruit juice. So it's
Yeah.
like this effervescent color, and you'll see our blood orange is orange. We're not a clear drink where the color of the flavor is what the color of the drink should be.
Yeah, I've tasted very few canned cocktails that can do lime. Lime is
Yeah,
really hard, and you
yeah.
guys nailed it.
Thank you. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was,
I'm impressed.
but what's interesting is at times we've talked to different, you're always, whether or not you pivot, you're always talking to different suppliers and having conversations. Like, also because we have real fruit juice, you have to be mindful of the crop that they're getting. And there have been
Yeah.
years where we had to adjust like the blood orange or fruit we're using because the crop isn't consistent. So the lime, various crops really change the acidity. So finding a good lime partner has been very important. But I don't think most people think that much about it. And so lime for the first year was a sleeper. And now it's one of our best seller because of the lightness and crushability.
Yeah, people had to taste it because I think they've been burnt by bad
Mm,
lime.
lime, yep,
I know one of the I had Fresh Victor on, the brand.
yep,
Amazing brand. I don't have you heard of it, Fresh Victor?
look it up.
They're real cold press fruit juices
Oh
that you
yeah,
can use for cocktails or
yep,
salad dressings. Like, I used to put just a little bit in my water just because I get tired of just plain water sometimes, and I just want a little flavor.
yeah,
That was really fun. But anyway, one of the things that I learned from him was to get your contracts set and, especially with the volatility of potential tariffs and all the things, get a long-term contract with your vendors so that you don't have that price volatility.
yep, yep. Yeah,
All right,
somebody was
so
asking me about.
go ahead.
No,
Somebody
no,
was asking
no.
you about it?
Yeah, people ask about it all the time, but again, it's when you find the right partners. But when the volatility in the market happens, it impacts small businesses like us so much because margins are small. We're selling a can for a couple bucks. Well, when the cost of the cans or the flavor or the ingredients goes up, we don't wanna keep raising the bar on our price, but small pennies add up quick in
Yep.
this industry.
Yep. Yeah. Every penny counts for sure.
Every I promise.
Yes. So we're moving on to grapefruit tequila soda. Just out of curiosity, are these limes and grapefruit from the US, or do you outsource it to Mexico, or
Well, no, I don't really know the answer to that, to be honest.
okay, it doesn't matter.
But I know that our tequila is obviously from Mexico. We work with a partner there, and have to. That was a whole other thing, learning about tequila brokers to make sure, you're paying the duty taxes there because it's from coming from Mexico, so you have to import it. Otherwise, it's called an agave spirit, and we wanted real tequila, so to use that, that's why our tequila drinks cost more to make because we have to factor in those additional costs to get it over.
Yep. Yep. No, 100%. No, this is great. So I've already had a sip, but you can kind of see the color is, a little, it's definitely got a pink tinge to it. And it tastes, it really, it's on point with grapefruit, 100%. Like, I can't believe that you can get that authentic flavor. It's like you're biting into the fruit with the actual fiber, right? It's like you're
Yeah,
actually eating the fruit with the like the whole thing. It's awesome.
yeah, and there's no added sugar, I should have mentioned too. So some brands will use artificial sweeteners to have the flavor or the calorie count go down, but our sugar in our product is truly from the fruit and the fruit juice. There's
That's
no added
amazing.
sugar or artificial flavor.
And these are good. Okay, so we're pineapple tequila soda.
That's
So
our newest one too. We just launched that in June of this year.
I love pineapple.
Pineapple was the most interesting flavor that took time to iterate on besides the lime, because some pineapple, even if it's fresh pineapple juice, tastes candied.
Yeah.
And so what we
Yeah.
wanted the flavor, even though some people like the candy, to fit within the portfolio of the others.
That is really good. That's my favorite. I
Yeah,
love pineapple, and I'm a
yeah,
tequila girl more than vodka.
yeah, perfect.
Wow, these are impressive. I can get it. I really do. I mean, I've had 3 and I'm like, I'm sold. These are
Perfect.
these are amazing. The slender cans I really do like.
It's so much easier to hold. In the early days, people were like, "Why don't you do the short cans?" I'm like, "'Cause you can't, like, stack them. It's easier to hold, and when I'm on the dance
Yeah,
floor."
exactly. You have a whole purpose in mind. So we're doing the blood orange tequila soda. Ooh, look at this color. Nice. I love blood orange. Not a lot of people do, I don't think. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. They're not hard to come by, but you got to look for them.
Yeah. Well, that was the other thing too, when the first year we launched with our blood orange was such a hot flavor, and so a lot of the crops were getting overpicked, and so you weren't really getting, like, the dark, more mature blood orange, and so it almost was a little more orangey. That's why our drink, the color is a little more orange versus that, like, dark purpley orange, and the next year, our supplier was like, "We actually have real blood orange juice, like, this is the perfect crop," and I was
Yay.
tasted delicious, but I was a little nervous because our blood orange had become the best seller, and I wasn't sure if the mature flavor, which we initially set out to do, would resonate as much. It wasn't as commercial. So we actually had to taste test the juices with our consumers to see what they liked better. And we actually stuck with the original blood orange versus getting the more mature, because the other thing we wanted to be mindful about is, well, this is the first time you've had this more mature idealist blood orange. Is that going to be what happens every year? Because we don't want our best seller to change in
To
profile year over
fluctuate.
year. That's
Yep.
not fair, what our audience wants. So
Wow,
that's
that is
something,
super interesting.
yeah, things I learned on the
People don't
job.
do that. People don't do
Yeah,
that. They don't ask their customers. They just make a
yeah,
decision.
yeah, and that's definitely the brand we will never be.
I love that. I hope so. I know companies get bigger and you get more people, but that would be awesome.
No, yeah,
Okay. So you just heard me pop another can. I've got 3 more to go. All right, we've got iced tea. Can you read that? Iced tea lemonade, vodka soda.
yeah, so also with this flavor, there's a drink that I grew up with called the Bonic Tonic, which is iced tea and lemonade, and iced tea and lemonade is obviously one of the more faster growing flavors in the industry, and we don't wanna chase trends, right? We're not just gonna chase and put what's popular in our portfolio. We're also never really gonna do anything exotic like a tutti frutti margarita, but iced tea and lemonade, based on consumer demand and our roots of this drink called the Bonic Tonic, it made sense in our portfolio.
That's awesome. Do you know what kind of tea you use by chance?
Black
Is
tea?
it black tea?
It's black tea. But it's also I don't even know if you've even thought about this, but a lot of the tea drinks too, you have to be mindful of the caffeine. I don't think people realize the caffeine. So ours is very low in caffeine. I don't know the percentage top of mind, but some of the tea drinks have a lot of caffeine, which I remember people were crazed over the Four Loko days where it was a caffeine rush. And I don't
Yeah.
people realize
Yeah.
tea has caffeine.
I will tell you this. I've tasted a few tea. I'm not a black tea person, but that's what they typically use in brands and I've tasted a few of them. I haven't tasted one that got that particular black tea flavoring. Like you've nailed it without any wave of flavor
Thank
to
you.
me. Yeah, I'm
Thanks.
super impressed. And I love the
Oh,
lemonade because I'm a lemonade person. I put lemonade in a lot of drinks. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm not dumping anything. I'm just saying.
I love it. I love it. That's why I sent you more than one of each.
Yeah, I'm excited. Party time. So this is the cranberry vodka soda, which, became
This one has
popular with
yeah.
this one what?
No, I was just gonna say, I feel like this was like your first drink order. When you're first
Yeah,
learning to order
exactly.
drink cranberry
Sex in the
vodka?
City.
Yeah. Sex and City, Cosmo. This one has gone through a few iterations because the cranberry in different production runs, even though it's been the same consistency, sometimes it's more tart. Sometimes
Yeah.
cranberry can taste medicinal. Like
Yep.
cranberry isn't just a black and white ingredient. So where it is today is where we want it to be, but different seasons have had different batches of cranberry.
That is super interesting. And, when you think about it and the fluctuation of the blood orange, it's almost like a
Yeah.
vintage, like
Yeah.
wine.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna start using that.
Yeah. But this is a beautiful color, I think, and it's not. It's cranberry. It's not red. It's not, or it's a pretty pink cranberry. It's really
Yeah,
lovely,
thank
actually.
you.
That's really good.
Yeah, and look,
And
we've had moments of almost discontinuing a cranberry because we also don't
really,
wanna be a brick fighting ourself on the shelf, right? We don't wanna have, like, a huge portfolio on but the
yeah,
cranberry has it. There are, like, these die-hard enthusiasts for our cranberry, and it's
you're
only
kidding.
grown.
No, and I could be, mistaken, but I don't know that I see too many of these on the shelf. This flavor.
Yeah. Well, I think Absolute does one, which makes sense,
Okay.
like the vodka cranberry, but I don't think there's enough on it because also cranberry can be very sugary. You can add a lot of sugar and drink can change very quickly. So that's why this one was a little difficult because you wanted to get the medicinal out, but not kill the cranberry.
Okay, so this one, the last one, the very last one is the Hamptons Mule. Vodka soda ginger. All right.
So this one too,
Ooh, look at this
most
color.
Moscow mules have molasses or added sugar to make it a Moscow mule. We
Mm-hmm.
use fig concentrate. So again, when we were making it, we were like, wait, this tastes good, but it's sugar. And our core values are no added sugar, no additives. So we used fig because fig's a natural ingredient and we were able to formulate it to keep it within our core values, but still taste damn good.
That's amazing. I love fig, by the way. I'm a ginger. I'm a fanatic,
Okay,
and
great.
but I don't like ginger beer because they just make it they make it so overpowering that
Yep.
it's just too much. I love the freshness of the ginger that just popped. It just drifted right into my nose when I opened it, and it was a whiff of greatness. That is really good. It's
I need
got
to
that
take you for
nice. Yeah, look, I'll make a commercial for you. I'm not kidding. I love this stuff. I like the finish on it because it smells a little bit spicy. And then when you snick kinda comes in and you swallow it, it sorta has this almost like a sushi ginger, like
Mhm.
mellow after
Like palate
what do you
cleanser.
call it? Yes, like a palate cleanser kinda thing, and it's, very smooth.
Thank you.
I I enjoy it a lot. That's a good one too. Oh, man, these are excellent. I'm super impressed. I mean, I
Thank you.
really am. The good work. I mean,
Thank
obviously, you
you.
have an amazing team behind you, Ruby, that is kicking it out of the park. And I wish you all the success that you guys deserve because you've got all the elements in play. You're doing it by the new playbook that not too many people are familiar with, but those that are winning in that space. So, congratulations.
Thank you. And I really appreciate you taking the time. And I know you know this industry in many different iterations and for several years. So I take that compliment very to heart because it is a very dynamic space. And to know it and to see it is something different. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, of course. We all have our different experiences and bring different things to the industry, and that's why I love this podcast because yes, it's about a brand, yes, it's about innovation, but it's about the people behind all that, right? Like
Absolutely.
that's what drives me more than anything is just everybody has a different experience to get to where they are, and there's reasons
Yeah,
why they are doing what they're doing.
exactly. Yeah,
Well,
great.
it's been lovely.
Yeah, and enjoy the flavors. If you need a stock up, we'll make sure we take care of you until we're
Okay,
serving Florida.
awesome. I love that. I love that. We have a lot of company, so we could spread the word.
I love it. You're hired.
Oh, that's so fun. Well, next time Howard comes in, give him a hug for me and my wife. We're huge fans.
Sure.
She's a long-term fan. She kind of got me into him just because I think he's a really good dude, really at the core of who he is, and I love that he supports your venue. And I'm sure he and Beth love the drinks. I know that. Yeah, you'll
I
have
think
to.
that there's so many famous rock and roll people that everyone's always like, "Who's gonna be the face of your brand?" And I'm like, "So many of them are sober now, I don't know."
Yeah, that's right. Howard doesn't really drink, does he?
No, I don't think he does.
Yeah, I think he drank a little wine. I don't think he's ever been a big drinker. Yeah, that's right. I don't think he's drinking right now. But anyway, what a good dude, and I just bring that up just because I think it just kinda coming full circle here. But
Yeah.
it's been an honor, and thank you so much for coming on the podcast, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
You bet. Hey, if you have a
Take
new flavor, feel free to come on and we'll do this again. And it'll just be like 15 minutes.
I
We'll just do
love it.
we'll do a
You'll
brand
be a team.
launch.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, well, I will let you get back to it, Ruby. Take care.
Perfect. Yours. Thank you.
Bye.
Produced by Fedora J Productions.